What's up, everybody? Welcome to the RotoWire Soccer Podcast. My name is Ryan Belongia. We're a little bit late because I'm the host now. Significant downgrade from Jack Burkhart. We've had some technical issues in the back. Anyways, fortunately, we have Mo here. And before we get into it, I don't think a lot of people know, but Mo is coming off a legendary NFL season. I'm talking six-figure scores in best ball, DFS, classic slate, showdowns. He's also got 7 King of the Pitch tickets already. So even though we don't have Jack, we're in good hands. How's it going, Mo?
It's good. That's a better intro than Jack ever gave me. I mean, we're already starting up 1-0.
We got to let the people know.
Yeah, it's been a good season, Ryan. It's almost sad that it's just wrapping up. I feel like I got hot right at the end. But no, it was the first season I feel like I ever really got a good grasp of I think some of the better angles to play in NFL. And even though the NFL season's coming to an end, the soccer season is right in the sweet spot. We got King of the Pitch coming up. We got a lot of big Champions League slates coming up. So hopefully my hot streak will carry over to
and we really got to enjoy this soccer season too. Might be the last one of its kind, especially King of the Pitch.
It's always possible. We got a lot of good new faces, but you're right.
That's true. Well, yeah, soccer now. I was fortunate enough to have a front row seat for most of Mo's NFL season. It was fun to, talk process. I think it helped all of us, soccer too, with Jack. So, it's nice. Jack, we don't have Jack anymore, but I think Mo is a great replacement. So we'll try to get him on as much as possible. And before we start, you can't see it on the screen because, again, that's my fault, but rotowire.com/soccer trial. If you want to join the Discord, check out the cheat sheets. Here we got a 7-game slate for tomorrow. So we got the odds up and projected lineups and all that stuff. I don't know, Mo, I'll let you break it down, but we have 6 teams with total over 2. Madrid in just a smash spot, 2.9 total, one of the higher totals you'll see at home to Salzburg. Their players are really expensive. I see Adam titled this podcast Mbappe versus Vinny versus Jude. And you're definitely going to, Mbappe versus Vinny is going to be a real tough decision. They're both like almost 12K. And then Arsenal right behind them. It's kind of like the opposite. They're priced way down, which is unfortunate because it makes them really hard to avoid. Some of the prices on the Arsenal guys are crazy for a 2.6 total. I would have liked to try to fade some guys or Arsenal in favor of some of these other spots, and maybe you still can. I mean, it's going to pump the ownership way up on Arsenal, but it's a really good spot for them. After that, Celtic and Munich with similar totals, and then Inter and AC. I don't know, like I haven't looked at the slate too much, but I guess I was a little annoyed. I was annoyed with the Arsenal pricing because everyone's just going to jam a couple Arsenal pieces, jam at least one of those Real Madrid guys. You can probably only fit one. I mean, now you can fit 2. You can fit like Rodrigo or Jude also if you play a couple Arsenal. I think that's going to be the real common build. It's really annoying. But for the main GPP, you're going to get some crazy low ownership on guys that shouldn't be. So it's a decent slate for that. I think in like cash and high stakes, you might see a ton of similar lineups. But I guess that's how it always is anyways. What do you think, Mo?
Yeah, my first thought when I opened up the slate was, okay, I actually don't think Salzburg are as bad of a team as the odds suggest. So maybe this is going to be a slate where we see people jam Real Madrid and not get a great return on it. I felt especially so when I saw the prices for Vinny and Mbappe at just near 1,200 each. And then I opened up the Arsenal prices and it all went to nothing because the Arsenal prices are a joke. You have Martinelli, I think, at 5,900. Declan Rice at 4,800. Odegaard at 5,400. I mean, each one of those is at least 2,000 below where it should be. And it puts you in a spot where you can play just about anyone. I think I was playing around with a lineup that was featuring Vinny and Mbappe. That might be a stretch, but as you pointed out, if you want to go one of them and one of Jude or Rodrigo, that's very doable. And certainly if you feel like getting, pieces of the other kind of high goal total matches, Celtic game or the Bayern game, that's going to be very doable as well. So, I would say on the second glance, if you will, it looks like it's not going to be that creative of a slate. But even with the mispriced Arsenal guys, there's still, I think, 5 to 6 other spots that you can make some interesting decisions on. And I think, you're going to have to get those right to really make it big on this slate.
Yeah, I see there's some cheap Celtic forwards. They're in a good spot. Lost with Celtic in good spots a couple times recently because of Engels. So he's 8,700. We'll talk about Engels and Celtic in general, but Salzburg. Yeah, Mo. I thought they were okay, and then I played them. I'm trying to find this. Yeah, they were like massive favorites against Zagreb on one of these slates like a couple months ago, and they did terrible. Do you remember that? Sorry, I'm just trying to find it because it annoyed me. 10-23. They were big favorites at home against Dinamo Zagreb. I took a chance on them. Faded some chalk. I remember like over 50% of the field played Dinamo Zagreb's keeper. He was like 3,700 or something. Smashed like 25 points. It's one of those slates. And ever since then, Salzburg haven't scored a goal. So I don't know. They haven't scored in their last 3 or 4 matches in the Champions League. I don't know. I think they're going to get crushed here. So like Madrid's starting to find some form too. Like Mbappe's kind of back now. Rodrigo's on fire. It's not like, it's not going to surprise me if they score 5. Start at forward. Vinny is 11-8. Mbappe 11-6. Vinny coming off a red card. He was suspended over the weekend. I don't know. Like the Vinny versus Mbappe decision, we talk about it all the time. I can't really give any insight. Vinny's probably got the higher floor. Mbappe probably more likely for goals. We saw earlier in the season people played Mbappe. He didn't really do it. Vinny was lower owned and smashed. I don't know. It feels like they'll be similarly popular. What do you think, Mo? You got to lean on Vinny versus Mbappe?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing a lot from Mbappe. I think over the weekend he was like, I feel like I've officially made it. I'm officially back. So that makes you lean Mbappe. But honestly, it just feels like a little bit of Russian roulette on these guys. Like, I usually in these spots where like everyone is live to score, I usually like to get different. That really isn't an option, I think, tomorrow because, again, the Arsenal matchup already is going to be all those pieces are already going to be in play. So I don't know. If I have to pick between them, I'm leaning Mbappe. I could also, if you really wanted to get different, you could go Jude and Rodrigo and fade that decision entirely. I don't think that will be the path to success. I think one of them will do well, especially. Do we know who's on penalties now?
I don't, right? Mbappe missed the last one, right?
Yeah, they seem to constantly trade. And I think, let's see what RotoWire is telling us. So Mbappe's taken 6. Vinny 3, Jude 2. So, I think you would
who
lean.
knows, right?
Right. You would lean that it might be Mbappe. He's certainly in the better form. I don't know. If I have to make a decision.
You would, but then you'd say, oh, well, he's in the better form now. Maybe Vinny needs it more coming off the red. Like, let's get him back in the fold, like.
Takes me back to when Saka passed that PK to Odegaard, and I was incredibly tilted. Yep. And then he finally stepped back up for the next one and scored it. I mean, these I think if you wanted a good basis to make a decision between the two, you would really take a hard look at the most recent PKs and make a decision. I think that will likely steer me to Mbappe, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I really have nothing to add. I would just say, like, you're not going to make money like with either of them. They're both going to be 50. I mean, Mbappe's going to be 50% or whatever. It's kind of like the Erling Haaland decisions.
It can kill you. It won't be what wins you the big prize.
Right, but it might be what it could lose it for you though. So going down, no one's gonna play Haaland at PSG. No one's really gonna touch that game in general. Kane at 10-7 probably goes overlooked. I don't know, maybe not. People like Bayern. People always seem to play Kane, but I don't know. Like, a lot of salary is going to be gone with people playing Madrid.
It seems like the most, I don't know, obvious leverage play if you decided you were going to go off of the Real Madrid forwards. There is also, of course, Mark Andrews, aka Kai Havertz, that you could play. And, it's a good matchup for him. Usually, I don't know if there's a Havertz type matchup, but if there is one, I feel like it's the ones where you don't have a lot of pressure on him. Maybe I'm just slandering him right now, but it feels like a game where he could easily grab 2, and the price I think is 7,400. So if you really wanted to be a little different than most, you could just go beyond the pieces that everybody's likely to play and go for an even deeper Arsenal stack and see where that takes you.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty fair about Havertz. This is a spot where he can be a little bit more confident, a little bit more free, a little bit less pressure. He's dealt with a lot. Even recently, he was sort of over it for a while, and then just again some more stuff happened. But anyways, yeah, I agree. The other Arsenal guys are even cheaper. Could see Sterling start here. He's the one that would go lower owned in tournaments. No one would really want to click Sterling over Havertz or Trossard / Martinelli. Martinelli's only 5,900 if he starts. I kind of think Trossard will start and only one, or sorry, I think Sterling will start and only one of Trossard or Martinelli will start, and then Havertz at center forward. Do like Havertz with Jesus out. Makes you think he's going to play 90 at center forward, or at least close to it. So that's a good shout.
One of the issues I have with this new Champions League format is it's a bit harder to know like who is playing for what. Like today, I hadn't really thought about the narratives much. And then, I think the commentator started mentioning in a few games, like I think, for example, the Monaco Aston Villa matchup in the first window, how, this game meant a lot more for Monaco because they're a little bit more on the edge. Aston Villa has had really good results so far. That kind of component, I don't know if it comes in for Arsenal and so on. Do you have any sense of that and how teams might be starting to look at it, or if it's just too early?
No, I don't right now, but it's important. I think you're right. I was a bit too lazy with it, but I'll do that tomorrow morning. You could have got some edge today on the early slate and in this this last 7 gamer. I mean, if you look, like the like besides teams like the Bruges Juventus game, like neither team even like tried to play.
Yeah.
And like I got caught playing a couple guys from that game that I probably wouldn't have had I like trusted the total and looked into it. But then you had like other teams that really needed to win, and you could tell by the way they played. So yeah, I think motivation becomes important at this point. Like the next week is the last match week where all 36 teams play at the same day at the same time. I mean, I really hope we get an 18 gamer next Wednesday. I mean, that was just legendary stuff if we get an 18 gamer, but I don't think DraftKings will do it. You never know. Anyways.
So I just pulled it up, and I'll just make some quick observations. Liverpool, Barcelona, and somewhat Atletico are like the three safe teams at 21 points, 18 points, and 15 points. I think just about everyone else is still in play. You could even throw Atletico into that mix. And so for the teams that are trying to make the top 24, the 9 to 24 window that I think gets less preferential treatment than the 1 through 8, I mean, literally no one is safe. Real Madrid is sitting on 9 points. Arsenal have 13, which is good, but not great. So I think the bottom line is everyone is still going all out. Real Madrid especially are going all out because they are, right on the edge there of being out of the Champions League. Man City's on 8. They have all the motivation as well. Dinamo Zagreb is on 8. So even though they are, heavily disfavored, they are really close to qualifying. Obviously, they were going to want to win anyway, but I think that's worth noting. And then I'm trying to think if there's any other notable things to say here. I think the rest of the teams just want to win. No one is really in or out between the rest because, like I said, everyone is really separated by very few points. I think in this new format, what you used to see in the group stage is you had, 2-3 teams that had 6+ points. So like a 6, an 8, and a 12, right? And the 12 was already set early on. The 8 or 9 was fighting for it. The 6 had an outside chance. Here, I think, and this was, I think, part of the redesign, pretty much everybody who hasn't just won out is motivated to go ahead and play their best soccer. And so I think what it basically boils down to for us is that every team here is going to try their best to win. That includes Real Madrid, includes Arsenal. So kind of answer my own question, I don't think you got to think about it too much. I think, if I was going to say anything about the standings, then I would say that a few of these teams might be more inclined to play for a draw than others. But even so, I think they're just going to go for it. Or you're muted, Ryan.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I think it's really important, all that stuff. And I did look at a little today. It's why I didn't play Liverpool today. They had it locked up. I mean, I played a piece here and there, Simicast, but at least I don't know. Anyways, that's how you want to make, I guess, the tough decisions on these slates,
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing I was going to say about forward is pay attention to Madrid's lineup, because if Modric doesn't start, Rodrigo is just a lock, taking set pieces at 9K. But it seems like Modric is going to be back. But I just looked at recent game logs, and Rodrigo's been absolutely smashing and taking most of the sets. 5 corners last game, 3 the game, 6. Yeah, Rodrigo has a goal and an assist in 3 of the last 4 games. Pretty good stuff. I think you can play Rodrigo no matter what. With no sets, he's fine. I mean, he's the cheapest of the Madrid attackers. I assume he's going to be very popular no matter what. But yeah, these Bayern guys.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, do you have a sense of what you're going to do about the Celtic strikers? I mean, they are dirt cheap. So you have Ida, I'm not really sure how you say his name, for 4K, who's going to be leading the line, expected to lead the line anyway. And then probably their best goal scorer in Furuhashi with, I think, really fantastic goal scoring odds. I think they have him at 50 something, right at 48%, 49%. He's at 4,300. So, I mean, really, really cheap prices. Are you thinking, I've already got savings from Arsenal, or are you thinking, I probably can fit one of these guys in?
I'm thinking I want to play some of these guys. I mean, it's like the same spot as Arsenal. Maybe not quite that, but I'm going to treat it like that. And also because I'd rather play at least a couple of these guys. I'd rather play than 8,700 Arne Angles for Celtic.
Yeah, I
we'll
saw
talk
that
about
price.
it in a second.
Thought it was silly.
But yeah, Furuhashi, I think probably the best value for, like, I don't know if Ida's going to start. That's the thing about Celtic is annoying. They sub a lot. But I like Furuhashi for 4,300 is just way too cheap. I think Kuhn might start. I think he has like a higher floor, and like they think of him as, he's one of their best players, their creator. So I like him too. And then obviously if Ida start, that's way too cheap. Yeah, Mo, I think you got to have interest in these Celtic guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
like even they'd almost be viable in cash as a last piece. I don't know. You probably don't need it, but yeah. Anything else? Like I don't. Anything else would just be for tournaments, I think.
Yeah,
like the Bayern guys probably go overlooked. Milan. You have any interest in Milan in this spot?
No, I mean Girona is hot and cold, and Leao's always good for a brace. Who is this Alex Jimenez anyway? I don't think I've ever heard of him. Is he like a youth product of some sort? I don't even see him popping up for me. He's not showing up as a forward. Maybe he's a forward for us, but not for DraftKings. We have him as a striker, but he's showing up on DraftKings as a 2,800 defender. So might be something to watch because.
Wait, what? I did not catch that, and no, I don't know who that is. Unfortunately,
yeah, I don't know who that is either. So
not as tapped in as I used to be.
A little, yeah. It says 19-year-old midfielder defender has subbed the last 3 games. Really good game logs, I think, for December when he played 2 games as a left back and 1 as an attacking midfielder. So, for the viewers, I think that's definitely one to watch. 2,800, a fullback who might, by all accounts, be playing as an attacking midfielder. Yeah, sign me up. Absolutely. Then maybe I can play Mbappe and Vinny and get away with it. So, at the risk of giving away too much, I think that's definitely one of the nuggets that people should keep an eye out for.
It's also possible that he's only in RotoWire's projected 11. So, yeah, I don't see him projected anywhere else. But yeah, if a $2,800 defender starts, I was just surprised at the total in that game. I didn't thought Milan, didn't necessarily expect Milan's total to be above 2, but I don't know. Maybe they've been better since with the new manager.
It's still the worst total on the slate. So
I guess there's just more goals in Champions League, total. It's just like a normal total, I guess, at this point.
Yeah. You see the shout out Keith gave us in the comments? He said he missed the show so damn much. Keith, we missed you. We're glad to be back. Like Ryan said, it's not the same without Jack, but we're gonna make it special for you nonetheless.
Man, I just got to the comments. Sorry, Jack. I mean, I spent multiple minutes trying to trying to crop the window. So it wasn't without effort, which makes it even more embarrassing. Anyways, midfield. Vinny's midfield eligible. Let's see. I haven't even made a lineup or got to midfield yet. Foden, nobody's going to click that. Way too expensive. Musiala, 10K. That's strictly a tournament play. Jude. Yeah, Jude's interesting. Obviously, you throw him in with the Madrid guys. He's probably going to get overlooked. Yeah. After that, I don't know. What do you think about Jude? And do you think do you think he'll be popular? Or will
I was laughing at the fact that Jack can't help but keep trolling you. Just never ends. You're making your debut in his spot, and he's just got a wise comment for everything. No, I think Jude is going to be a heavily played midfielder. I think a lot of constructions are going to be forced to, as we said, move off of one of Vinny or Mbappe, and Jude's going to be a great play. I think even if you're not forced to do it, Jude's a great goal scoring threat. Goal scoring odds for him are 50%. It's a logical play. When we're talking about Jude versus Rodrigo, I mean, it's again, we're splitting hairs. Rodrigo's hotter. He's a bit more of a sub risk. Jude doesn't have the sets, but is in and around the box a little bit more. It's all very tight. So I think he'll be played. Will he be played by me? I don't know yet, but certainly I think he'll be played.
Yeah, I was just looking at Madrid's game logs recently, and all their alphas have started like 5 games in a row, played tons of minutes. I haven't seen Arda. Arda hasn't played much. Andrick hasn't played much. Brahim's played a little. So, yeah, there's going to be some subs, I think. Wouldn't even surprise me if we got a different starting lineup. Might try to predict minutes a little in that Madrid game.
I think
Vinny Jr. off of suspension.
I definitely think you have to, because it's gonna come down to that. What do you think? I guess this is asking the same question because he's midfield forward eligible. Does the fact that Havertz has dual eligibility make him more interesting to you? Because I guess the midfield spots are the ones. Maybe I should ask this in reverse, is what I should do, right? We're talking about all these stretch plays when there are some very key plays that in cash you might just run to, right? So we can just quickly list those, right? Declan, as I said at the top, Declan Rice at 4,800, Odegaard 5,400. Is Martinelli dual eligible as well?
Yeah.
So Martinelli at 5,900. Any of those guys start, and they are really, really favorable for cash, right? I think it'd be very, very bold to move off of them. Given that, do you see a spot for Havertz? I know I've kind of asked a version of this question, but I'm going to ask it again.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Like, you might need him there. But I don't know if I see him there like for cash. Is that what you're saying? Like, you can't fade Odegaard. I mean, yeah, I don't want to bury the lead here, but and Declan there too.
Yeah.
What if Arsenal get 15 corners? I mean, Declan's 4,800. So I would think like most cash lineups just start Odegaard, Declan.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe like I don't know. Maybe people don't play Declan. Depending on, I don't know, the 4,800 man in this spot, and like it helps you afford some other stuff. But the thing is, like, it takes a position away. You only have 5 spots. So do you want to waste one on 10 points? I don't want to say waste. It's only 4,800, but you know what I'm saying. I think most people will start that way. So yeah, Havertz at 78 or 74. Yeah, I don't know. The dual eligibility, I guess, doesn't affect it really, because you could play him at forward, but it does, like, you can't fade Odegaard.
Right. No, I think that's right. I don't really know if there's anything more to it. I'm trying to look at these other midfielders and see if there's other ways you get creative. We already said Engels at 8,700 seems a little silly. So
it's kind of why I was going to come on here initially and say like the slate sucked, because like how do you like you said, how do you fade, or you said it would be bold to fade Odegaard. Yeah, how do you fade Odegaard? He should be 9,400. I'm not even kidding. He should be 9,400, right? Because he's got sets in like a smash matchup, and Declan should be 7K. So the slate kind of sucks in that way, because like if you're playing other guys, you're really gonna have a tough time. I mean, I've tried to make fades like that. It doesn't work out very often. But I mean, for tournaments, I don't know. Obviously, for tournaments you can, but for cash games, it's not much to talk about.
Yeah, in tournaments, it's also like, I don't know. It's a high risk, low reward with some of these guys. Putting aside the goal scorers like Havertz, because you know what you're looking for there, but the alternatives that you have in like Luka at 59, Kimmich at 75. I mean, you're paying a lot more for, in Kimmich's case, a worse matchup, and in Modric's case, a much worse position, right? You're just playing so deep. So I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is just another one of the spots where DraftKings knows. I don't know. I mean, does Arsenal have a lot to play for? Maybe these guys get subbed. I don't know. Maybe it's another spot where the whole Discord is saying how much they hate Arsenal. They've got 8 shots, like halfway through the second half or something. And, the starters come off for some of the young kids. So I don't know. There's probably a path to fading them in tournaments, but bench is also pretty thin and they got some injuries. So we'll see.
Marco Rog is 3,500 for Zagreb. Had all the sets last game. If you really want to be like maybe like Bear and just go as contrary as possible, just play the leading set piece taker for Zagreb and watch him smash versus Arsenal.
Yeah, at Arsenal on a 7-game slate. Fired up. No, I mean, I think if I'm going to look somewhere else, I kind of like Christian Aslani for 4,900. Inter have a good matchup, and he's been taking the sets. Hakan's out. Aslani has sets over Zielinski, and he's just a good player. How's he been doing recently? Hold on, let me check. But yeah, I don't see a lot after that. Aslani had 22 DK over the weekend. 5 corners, an assist, 4 chances created. Played 90. Seems all right. Inter have nothing to play for, though, I think, right? Not that matters. They might want to get Aslani. He's a guy that should have been getting more minutes, but he's just kind of stuck behind Hakan and these other guys. Barella, you can't get in that team. But Aslani's really good. We saw him in that international tournament. He looked good there too.
I think for sure Aslani, anytime he gets a start, I think is always live to make some things happen. Paulo Bernardo for Celtic started last game and took all their sets. 4,100.
Perfect segue.
Yeah, not a bad shout at all.
No, not a bad shout. I was just going to talk about Engels. So usually just one of them starts, and like that player will take a monopoly. Mm-hmm. And if Engels plays 90 minutes, you would want him in cash here, but he almost never does these days. On the last slate he was on that Celtic run to smash Spider-Man. He was my lone mistake. Kept me from everything. Slate before that too. I looked at some game logs recently, and same thing. Celtic make a ton of subs, but then he's still got a couple of those 90-minute games in there where he just absolutely smashes. So I think you could keep him in your pool for tournaments if you want, but And then Bernardo too, like the same. Like, yeah, he's going to be taking all the sets, so that's fine. But it's probably 60 minutes from like a defensive-ish type player. Like, yeah, I'd probably want to go somewhere else if he's going to catch ownership. He'd be fine for cash though. Like, would people play a guy like that over Declan? I don't know.
Yeah, hard to say.
Probably not. I mean, it's Celtic, and he's like,
Yeah, I agree. One guy, I know I'm hopping around here, but I think midfield's pretty much done. One guy we didn't talk about for forward that I think is just worth sliding in. Savinho, 6,500, usually has a floor. Doesn't really have many sets. Any temptation
that's a good shout
there?
Yeah, that's a good shout. He didn't start last game, and the still should, yeah, I don't think anybody will really play City here. It's never a bad spot for City, right? And
yeah,
City by far the cheapest.
We got 16 or 17 versus Everton, then 23 versus Leicester, then 23 versus West Ham. Some really high quality opposition, as you can tell as I'm going through this list. So he'll be in great form taking on PSG.
Yeah, no, that's a good call. I had kind of just crossed City off, but that's a good price, and I like Savinho. You might get him for 92. Maybe he takes an odd corner if Foden's not out there. Probably not, but yeah, okay. Anything else?
Nothing else for mid. Mid is very mid on the slate.
Okay, to defender. The slate today for defender, there was a ton of good defenders. I mean, defender was tough today. There's just a ton of good options, a ton of guys that took sets, and you needed three. Actually, three scored at least 15. I want to say 3 were in most of the top lineups. This slate, I don't know. Teo Hernandez seems to be doing pretty well recently. Taking more, yeah. I don't watch much Italian league or much Milan anymore, so I didn't really know. But yeah, you see this. I mean, 4 shots in 3 of the last 4. Also taking like more corners than he has been.
Numbers are great.
Also, I love Teo, so I never really need an excuse to roster him. But I'll try to get up to him at 6,200. Definitely prefer him to DeMarco. You can take a chance on DeMarco, but the range of outcomes is just wider, and he doesn't seem to hit ceilings as often as he used to. I don't know. I could be wrong, but he gets subbed a lot too. After that, though, don't really see too much. After that, you're going to look cheap. I mean, just like Madrid, Arsenal. Let's see. Where's what prices like Timber 3,100, but don't blame me if you use a center back. I mean, you could, but I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still like great clean sheet odds, and he'll start as a center back and finish with 6 or 7 points or something if they get a clean sheet. But I guess it's fine. But I'd probably rather do something else. Anyways, I think they're going to move him to right back, but you never know. Party's been playing there, but Party made the error that led to Watkins' equalizer over the weekend. So maybe they move Timber over to the right and bring Kiwior back in. Kiwior has been left out in the cold ever since he had a nightmare the last game he started. And then Madrid, who do they got? Garcia, 37. Mendy, 29. Is that who's going to start? I don't know. What do you think of defender, Mo?
Is there ever a slate where it's okay to play Mendy, Ryan? That's the question I want to know. Not that it's okay, because it's always okay at his price. But is there ever a slate or a type of game where Mendy can actually deliver on his limitless potential? That is the question that feels like it has only one answer, which is no. Mendy will disappoint you in even the most plum of matchups. So
it is a very good question with some of these guys. Is there ever a good slate to play them for 2,900? No, I hear you. This might be the time when you can take a chance.
These game logs are just so sad, Ryan. 3.6 versus Stuttgart, 1.4 versus Lille, 0.6 versus Dortmund, 0.6 versus Milan, -1 versus Liverpool.
I mean, to be fair, none of those really matter. Can we see any versus Salzburg or any versus, something like that? But no, I'm with you, Mo.
No, I take your point, but I don't think it changes too much in La Liga. Like, there's a lot of really sad game logs.
Here might be something. Yeah, Mo. He's got 0 shots this season, and he had 0 shots last season, and he's played 831 minutes this year and created 1 chance. Last year, he played 872 minutes and created 2 chances. So, yeah, it was really, really bad. Now, I want to say there is I remember it might have been last year. It was either last year or the year before where he hit the post. I played him in one of these spots. He got forward and he hit the post. So there is a small chance. And you can play him for clean sheet odds too if you want to. But I don't know,
We'll stop ragging on Mendy. If you ever come across this video on Mendy, we mean it just to try to motivate you to just please God do something on the offensive end. We know you're a great defender.
Dude, you know what I don't understand, Mo? How does he never just pass the ball to Vinny and Vinny just rips a long shot? Or
right.
or Vinny or Mbappe just dribble a little bit and then shoot,
I think the team just knows that if the ball comes from Mendy, it's got to be a hockey assist. They can't possibly have him recording assists and getting a big head. That has.
I think he's basically like a CB most of the time. But anyways, yeah. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I was going to say on non-joking, defenders. Frank Garcia is someone I've always been really hot on. Unlike Mendy, his primary asset is to attack. He is, I think, 4,200, which is a great price. And my theory on fullbacks. 37, even cheaper. My theory on fullbacks is that if you play one that's really defensive, usually the manager or the team encourages the other one to balance them out and be more attacking. That's why when Carvajal is fit, usually you have Mendy staying really far back. Carvajal ends up all the way up, scoring headers in the Champions League final and so on, right? So I love the spot for Fran Garcia. It's going to be difficult for me to move off of him. Arsenal, we don't get anyone because we currently project 2 quote-unquote midfielders. Lewis Skelly, I think, has been playing fullback since he started, but he's a midfielder every single slate, so that we've just got to deal with that. I think, as you already shouted out Hernandez, I think he's a great shout. What is Emerson's price on this?
I was just going to ask you about 2 of your boys, Emerson and Rafa Guerrero. Emerson is he's 43. Yeah.
So Emerson's one of those guys who, if Hernandez is going to play deeper, he looks good, and we've seen those slates. Since Hernandez is now playing more forward, from what his game logs tell me, I expect Emerson will either not play or play deeper. So I won't have much interest, but you always can get a little offense out of him.
I want to say, what is this? 16 floor for Emerson against Genoa? Oh, no, 13. He's taken a couple shots recently, created a few chances, put in a few crosses.
He has good games in him.
It's not that bad. Yeah, it's not that bad.
Yeah. And there was somebody who I was going to shout out. Oh, yeah. So the Celtic fullbacks are interesting in the sense that they might be what you want to fill out your team if you decide that you think a particular keeper is like the way you want to go, or if because you've gone heavy on the forwards, you don't have much cash left over for the other guys we've talked about. Johnston for Celtic plays a little deeper than he plays for Canada. He's Canadian, right?
Yeah.
But he's got attacking in him. We only get his Champions League game logs. We won't get his Scotland ones, but I'm positive. Sorry, not Scott. Yeah, Scottish League. But I'm positive that he has some really great games. And at whatever price they've got him for, I don't think it's too much. Johnston, 3,900, not bad at all. although it's 200 more than Garcia. It might not be the move. And then I think Taylor was even cheaper, 3,400. And Taylor actually had good game log in the Champions League as well. 8 last game. He picked up an assist versus Leipzig. Definitely somebody who you could feel fine clicking given the salary.
Yeah, I think you're right. Those were the last guys I would mention.
And
wouldn't surprise you. I think probably one of them probably scores. One of them probably scores 10 points. It's a pretty good spot for Celtic. So yeah, I think you can either one. Either one's fine. I think if Ida starts, they may be more likely to put in some crosses.
Yeah.
Also could be wrong about that, but okay. Goalkeeper. Raya up at 6K, Courtois 59. Are we going to have the salary? I don't know. What are the clean sheet odds? Arsenal 56%, Madrid 53. Either are fine if you can afford it. I haven't tried building lineups yet, but those Madrid guys are expensive, but Arsenal's cheap, so maybe you can. Arsenal's cheap, Celtic's cheap. We just talked about a bunch of cheap defenders, so you're going to definitely be able to afford it if you want to. I mean, yeah, easily. After that, I don't know. You got any shouts, Mo? You got any leans?
I always like to get a sense of how I feel about spend down keeper on a slate. And this is one where I feel pretty decent about it. I think Blažević might not be the guy I'm interested in. I think Real Madrid don't put up that high shot volume without converting that some other teams do, but Arsenal sure do without Saka. And so I mean, I could easily see Zagorak getting a good score and really, being the guy that you wish that you had or the guy that unlocks everybody else. I don't know beyond that if anyone is really, of extreme interest to me. I'm tempted by the PSG City game, but it feels like it just has like 1-1 written all over it without too many shots. So I gotta say, my lean right now has to be heavily on the Zagreb keeper.
Wow. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but the analysis makes sense.
I know how much you hate playing a lot of one team and then the keeper facing that team.
You took the words out of my mouth, so I don't need to say it, but we've seen it win plenty of times. And then for this one though, Mo, I'll say a lot of those Arsenal guys are going to be such chalk that it doesn't matter. So sometimes in that case, I don't care because it doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter if Arsenal score. But yeah, that's fine. Arsenal clearly don't score as many open play goals without Saka in this spot. It shouldn't matter. But yeah, any of these cheap keepers are fine. I'm trying to think if I have a lean on one. I don't at the moment, but usually when lineups come out, one of these stronger teams will put out a weaker lineup, and you might give you a lean.
And one thing I'll say is just in defense of the spend down keeper. Today I played Oblak because Atleti have been in great form. He's one of the world's best keepers, and he was a lot more affordable than the favorites on the slate. And he had a good score. He had 9, could have easily had 11, 13, or whatever. And the lineup that I lost to in the kind of higher stake stuff I was playing was Glazer at -2 or Glazer at -2, right? Even when these guys don't have the good game, their ability to open up salary for the guys that you want or for the guys that smash is a huge difference maker, right?
Again, yeah, I won the Scorpion kick today with the Lille keeper. He was 3,600 and he scored 6 points.
There you go. And so that feels like an extra feather in the cap of the spend down keeper.
It's how I got to Middlestat, or else you can't play Middlestat. So these are the things. I was looking at lineups where I'll play a better keeper, and maybe I can get there with De Kuiper or a cheaper mid, and maybe you could have, and you can sometimes. But yeah, in smaller field stuff, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And yeah, I played Glasner too. I played Skorupski, all those guys. That being said, like, you can afford it if you don't have Mbappe or Vinny, but I will likely have those guys and thus have some cheap keepers.
That's right.
Let's see. I don't think anything else to add.
I just really want this Alex Jimenez to play now. I mean, I blame Adam and RotoWire for getting this hope stuck in my head now, but if I can just fit in 2,800 attacking left mid and play everybody else will do it too. That's why, like, it won't be right. As inspired as I'm thinking, but it would still,
Oh, I got the perfect solution for you. Just build all your lineups with him, but make sure you save 100, and you can just switch to your boy Ferland Mendy. It's too perfect, right?
There you guys. There you go, listeners. You heard it here first. The key to winning all the money tomorrow: just be ready to late swap to Ferland Mendy.
Right, that's all it takes. All right, awesome. Thanks to Mo. Like I said, I think next week all 36 teams play at the same time. So we'll try to have a pod for whatever slate they give us. But until then, yeah, rotowire.com/soccer trial. It's cheap and it's good. And yeah, we use it. So get in there, win some money with us. Thanks, Mo. Good luck, everybody.
Bye, guys. And good luck.